Greetings, friends and followers. This is Nurses Talking. I am Dale Barcy. As always, if you like what you see and hear, give us a like, subscribe, let us know what you think, leave a comment. Today, my guest is Miss Josephine Amoah from the beautiful UK. So Josephine is a registered nurse. She's a mentor, she's a coach, she's an author, and I am pleased to welcome her. Welcome, Josephine.
Thank you so much, Dale. Good evening, everyone. Lovely to be here.
Thank you. And thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate that you're doing this.
That's okay.
The thing I always want to know from nurses is why. Why are you a nurse?
So for me, I've always said on different platforms that I fell into nursing. I never dreamt of becoming a nurse. It was at a crossroad, I think when I finished sixth form, and my parents and I were having a discussion about what the next step was. And the course that I had studied in sixth form was business administration or something to that effect. And I wasn't very keen on business because I'm not very good with numbers. So I knew I didn't want to pursue business again. And then my parents suggested, why not try nursing? And so I thought, oh, actually, I like people. I'm very empathetic. I'm compassionate. I've got all those characteristics. So, you know, why not try it? And then the journey began from there. And that was in 2004. So I kind of fell into nursing. But I think coming from there, my why in staying in nursing is that I just love the job. And at the risk of sounding a bit cliche, I can't see myself doing anything else apart from being a nurse. Is the fact that you can give yourself selflessly to people and help them at their most vulnerable stages of their lives. And sometimes, depending on where I'm working, you can see the patient from when they come in, and you see them through their care journey until they actually go home. And it's just beautiful. It's one of those satisfactions in life that you can't actually describe to anybody. You have to experience it yourself.
It's a rush.
It is. I think all nurses get drunk on that, victory that we've helped somebody become better.
You can do. So did you become a nurse in the UK or? Okay.
Yes. So I came to the UK when I was in my mid-teens. So I went through the educational system, the sixth form, the college, the university. So I trained in the UK.
Okay.
I did a 3-year program. Yes.
Awesome. So what kind of challenges did you find though as a nurse? Because I know you love it, but there are challenges. So what kind of challenges did you encounter?
How much time do you have, Dale?
Oh, okay.
I think I'll talk about 3 challenges, the topmost challenges for me. The first one was I think having no mentors. As you're aware, I'm a mentor and a career coach. But when I was a student nurse and when I qualified, there weren't many nurse mentors around, and if they were, I didn't know where they were.
Yeah.
And so I spent lots of years post-qualification just going from one place to the other, having no real aim, if you go, I mean, I just knew that I wanted to do something big and something better, but I just didn't have that direction. That's the word, direction. And so I kind of, in my opinion, I wasted lots of time, even though all the experience that I gained in those years are helping me now. I just felt in a way that I could have, if I had a clear direction, I would have been able to achieve the things that I've achieved now earlier.
Okay.
And then the biggest one is obviously racism. I mean, it's everywhere. And if you speak to lots of healthcare professionals in the UK, foreign healthcare professionals in the UK, the BAME people, most of them will tell you they face racism one way or the other in the organization. And I think that also kind of leads me to my third challenge, is that the opportunities. Because of those racism, I was not able to get some opportunities, even though I was qualified for it. And apart from that, there was also lack of opportunities where I was. So things have moved on. It's gotten better. But years ago, when I was starting out, it just wasn't like that. And I think in terms of the racism, the issue is still lingering. It hasn't resolved. It's called different things. It's been covered, and it's been covered up several times in different organizations. And I don't know if it's ever going to go away, but it's just, I don't know how to explain it, Bill, but it's a pain point for most so we call it BAME, and that's Black and Asian minority ethnicity people.
Yeah.
Most of them are having the same issues, not just me. It's widespread.
I know. I became a nurse. I went to nursing school in England. So
Okay.
I know what you're saying.
It was probably worse than for you, Dale.
This was the 70s.
Yeah, because there weren't many of us around. So I think,
Yeah, this was the 70s.
I'm afraid to say that things haven't changed much.
Not only there. Not only there. Not only there. But you know, the thing is that we have to be the change. If you're waiting for other people to change, it's not going to happen. So you step out and you do what you need to do, and they can either keep up or not.
Exactly. We'll get there eventually.
We'll get there eventually. So what kind of areas did you work in?
So, I mean, I've been qualified for 12 years, and in that time, I've been everywhere. I've done, so obviously we have, in the UK, you can have your permanent job.
Yeah.
And then there's also that option to work as a locum.
Yeah.
So since I've been qualified, I've always had a permanent job as well as working as a locum. And that locum job is taking me, I've spent some time in A&E. I don't like it much.
Yeah.
No, not my thing. But I've been in the surgical, in the medical. I've done a bit of hospice, community hospitals, private hospitals, acute hospitals, the big ones, the big hospitals.
Yeah.
I think I've been around, and I think that's what kind of makes me who I am in a way, because I've kind of dabbled into everything.
You know, that's the thing about this. That's the thing about this. That's the thing about this. You can gain so much experience in so many different areas.
Yes.
And you can pack it in there if you really want to. Yeah.
Yes. Nursing is so diverse that if you don't like the one place, you can always move.
Yeah.
But you can't. It's best to kind of like test every area to see which one actually fits you, your character, and
yeah,
enables like flexible working and all those kind of things that comes with it.
You have to test the waters.
Yes, you have to.
So you mentioned that as a student and as a new nurse, you did not have a mentor. You couldn't find a mentor if there were any. So is that what propelled you to become a mentor? And how did you go about doing that?
Yes, so that was entirely what led me to become a mentor. So like I said, I mean, for the first 8 years after qualifying, I just kind of moved from job to job because I just wasn't finding that satisfaction. And I knew that there was something greater I wanted to do. And I know that sounds a bit cheesy, but I just knew that there was more to nursing, or there was more that I could achieve as a nurse. But I had no direction. And sometimes, if somebody's had a lived experience and you have a conversation with them, they'll be able to direct you. And that there's no need for me to like reinvent the wheel, because they've lived that experience. They can advise you to avoid some pitfalls and all that. And that's what I did not have in the beginning. So then I spent the 8 years knowing that I wanted something bigger. But I spent that 8 years just going around trying to find what that bigger was. And then it wasn't until 2018 where I kind of had a break in my career, where I had a promotion to a band 7 infection prevention and control specialist nurse. But that kind of opened my eyes to the kind of issues that Black people or Asian people or Bay people face when it comes to attaining higher positions. I knew that racism was rife, but it just kind of brought to mind, it brought to the forefront of my mind, if I struggled this much to attain this senior position, then surely there are thousands more nurses like me that are going through what I'm going through. And so in 2020, when COVID started,
Yeah.
I think we all have COVID stories.
And bless COVID for a lot of things, you know. We can be
Yes, we do.
yes.
So I mean, I think I'm quite thankful, even though obviously it's been a horrible 2 years, but I think for me, on the brighter side, I was able to reevaluate my life, reevaluate my career, and where I was and where I wanted to go. And so in June 2020, I had this kind of like light bulb moment where I thought, actually, you know, I've been meaning to do something. Why don't I just get up and do it?
Do it. Do it.
And that was a mentorship. So I went on Facebook and then I posted, oh, I'm willing to mentor 3 nurses from Africa. If you're interested, you know, message me. And that's how it started. So I received DMs from 10 people from Africa, Nigeria and Ghana. And I think 2 of them were qualified nurses and the rest were in their 4th year of nursing training. And then so we just started the mentorship academy. I was mentoring them. And I just thought, you know what, I can actually do this. You know, I mean, every little helps. If I could influence positively one person, then my job in this world is done, I thought. But I was able to do it with 10 people. And it was just great. It was a great experience. And I haven't looked back since then.
All right. So, and then you went on to write a book.
Yes.
Is it a textbook?
Yes. So it's a guidebook, I call it. It's a guidebook for nurses and nursing students. So again, that was kind of born out of the mentorship academy that I created. So during the mentorship classes, I was always, you know, advising my students, my mentees, on how to become great at nursing, the kind of characteristics that they need to, you know, have, and all those kind of things. And I thought, you know, I think I've had about 3 cohorts so far. I cannot keep repeating the same thing, you know, all the time. So why not put those words into a book and then make it available to nurses everywhere? And in the beginning, I just kind of, it was an idea. And I never thought it would be here, but it was an idea came up. I started, you know, jotting down ideas on what I wanted to be, what I wanted to include in that book. And how I wanted the book to be. And it just kind of grew from there. It took me a year from the beginning to actually publishing the book. And it was self-published. So no funding from anybody. Everything that I, you know, all the monetary side came from my pocket, you know. From the beginning. So it's been a great, it was a great year writing that book. Very stressful, lots of sacrifices. But then I knew what the vision was. I knew what I wanted the book to achieve, and I knew what legacy I wanted to leave. So I was, you know, I had to not give up. Let me put it that way, because at some point I felt like giving up. It was that stressful.
I can imagine. You know, you're pouring a lot of yourself into this for a year of your life. And probably, as you say, you're doing it by yourself. Right. And not necessarily with people who can actually empathize with what you're trying to get there, to get across. So I can imagine just how stressful it might have been.
It was, but it's worth it. It's been worth it.
I'm sure. So where can people get it?
So currently it's available on Amazon. And for those of those nurses that are not able to access Amazon for whatever reason, it's available on Seller. So that's S for sugar, E for elephant, L for Lima, A for apple, and R for Rita. So Seller, So for the African nurses, those in Africa, or those that have no access to Amazon, they can get it from there as well.
So you know what, we can put that in the description box of this video so that people can access. What's the name of the book? So it's called How to Be a Great Nurse. I'll show you how it looks like. You can find it. So it's titled How to Be a Great Nurse, 15 Characteristics needed by the modern nurse. So this is how it looks like. So Uh-huh. Okay.
All
Wonderful.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's available in paperback and also available in ebook. So
Okay.
there's that choice as well.
Yeah.
And they're quite affordable because I want everybody to have access to it.
Yeah. 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 It's no point putting all this work and then people don't have access to it. I mean,
No,
you
no,
know,
no.
I
And then
get
that's how I had to put it on Seller because I had feedback from the nurses in Africa that they can't, because for some reason it's not, Amazon is not in Africa or some African countries.
Yeah.
So they were struggling to get access to it. So I had to kind of find a way to make it available
Make
to
it
my
available.
African
Yeah.
nurses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's always a way.
Yes, yeah.
So doing all of this, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to be a nurse?
I think my advice would be do it for the right reasons and ensure that you know your why. I mean, the first question you asked me there was, what was my why of getting into nursing? And, you know, just know your reasons for getting into nursing. If your reasons are to get a secure job or to make money, I'm sorry, you're in for a rough ride. They'll get to a point, and I'm going to be very blunt here. There's going to get to a point in your nursing career where that money is not going to be enough. And so then when you get to that point, what's going to be your reason of staying in that job? You understand? So you have to be ready for it and know your why of getting to that nursing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. So I've been asking nurses this question because I want to know what we see in one another. So if you had to describe the most essential quality of a nurse in just one word, what would that word be?
I think the most essential quality would be compassion.
Compassion. Yeah, that comes up a lot.
Yeah, so compassion, empathy, you know, you need both because, like I said before, you know, it will get to a point where sometimes even your why of getting into nursing will not be enough to keep you.
Will not be enough. Exactly. It will not be enough.
It might not, you know, it's like any other jobs or any other relationship, you know. Sometimes it's like when you get into marriage, sometimes love is not enough.
The love is not enough. In fact, 2 weeks after you're married, the love is not enough. You need more.
Exactly. So you need to have something. You need to have something more, you know, that can kind of keep you in there.
Yeah.
When the going gets tough. And I think for me, I mean, if you look for anyone who's got access to my book or anybody who's going to get a book, the first chapter in this book is empathy. So the book is got 15 characteristics, and each one is each chapter covers one characteristic. All right.
Yeah.
And for the first one, even though I do say that it's not in order of importance, the first one was strategically placed. I placed empathy there because I felt if you don't have it, then nursing is not for you.
It's not for you. It's not for you. It's not for you.
Because there's so much. I feel like if you have empathy, you kind of, you know, have the compassion, you're able to go above and beyond. So when you look at the other characteristics that I talked about, it kind of all links into empathy.
Yeah.
Because if you're not empathetic, you cannot adopt that can-do attitude. You don't go above and beyond. You just don't care.
Exactly. Plus, if you don't have it, the actual it destroys you pretty much.
It does.
It really does.
It does.
You know, so you can't go into it without that. You can't.
No, you need that. And I think one of the things I keep saying is that empathy is one of those soft skills that is hard to teach someone. And I've always thought that it's either you have it or you don't.
Yeah.
But what I did in the book was that for each characteristic, I kind of listed how you can adopt it. So although I cannot teach you how to be empathetic, I can teach you ways you can, things that you can adopt or things you can do to seem or appear empathetic. You know, so it's a brilliant book, and I kind of, you know, entreat everyone to get a copy because it's not like your typical textbook. It's a guidebook, and it's written in simple English, broken down, you know, for the lay person to read and understand. And that is what I was trying to achieve, to make sure that it's understandable when read.
Great. So one of the things that we hear now these days a lot is about burnout among, in the nursing profession. What do you think we can do about this, if anything? What's causing it? Why are we not recognizing it until people are, leaving the profession because they're so stressed and so burnt out? How can we recognize it early that we can do something? Because it is a stressful job and people are going to feel that stress and pressure and burnout regardless of what you do. How can we, step in early? What kind of tools do you think we can give people to take care of themselves before we get to that point?
I think everybody knows when they are on the verge of being burnt out. We are all humans. We know our breaking points. But the issue with nurses, myself included, is that we have so much passion for the job.
Yes.
And it's kind of becoming our undoing because let's say, for example, the rail workers in the UK, they sometimes go on strike.
Yeah.
No, the trains don't work.
Yeah.
The bus drivers go on strike. Buses don't work. You understand? And I think for us, the one solution that we are not ready to talk about is a walkout, a strike. But because of how passionate we are about the job and how we are selfless and all that, all those kind of attributes that we possess, we are unable to work out because if we do, our patients will suffer.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand?
And we don't know when to quit, actually. We don't know when to quit. You talked about earlier about the possibility of doing your full-time job and then doing a locum and stuff like that. And because that those opportunities exist sometimes, we just go. Anywhere on the planet, you can, if you're a nurse, work 365 days a year if you really wanted to.
If you want, yes.
Yeah, and in the process, destroy yourself.
I know.
Sometimes I think that we don't realize that. No, I don't need to take another shift. No, I really do need this mental day. And we don't take it because we have all this guilt stuff that we carry. Someone asks if you can do an extra shift, and instead of just saying no, I'm way too tired, I cannot, we're like, okay, I'll do it.
I know. I've been there.
We all have.
Yes. And I think, like you said, is that guilt that we kind of carry on our shoulders, which we shouldn't, to be honest. Because in the UK, we are allowed, I think, a minimum of 20 days annual leave. You understand? And sometimes people use the annual leave to work extra shift. And that's their own time. They can do whatever they want.
You can do it too, yeah.
But I think in some organizations, people are kind of a guilt tripped into taking on extra.
Yeah.
And it's like trying to be a team player, because if you say no all the time, you'll be seen as not being a team player.
Exactly.
But that's not fair. You understand? Exactly. So there's so much. I think I don't know if you're ever gonna solve this issue.
I don't know.
And it's always like the right people are not in the top positions. Those at the top are making decisions that are not favorable to us. And for example, a typical surgical ward, maybe they need, if you've got like 30 patients, they'll probably need 6 nurses and how many carers, I'm not even sure. But for example, and then let's say for a month or so, they've always run with 4 nurses instead of 6.
Yeah.
If you're pushing for more, the question will be, well,
why? You managed for a month. Exactly. Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly. Yeah.
And those unions that are meant to be fighting for us, you kind of think to yourself, what is going on? What am I paying all this money per month as a membership fee for?
Yeah.
Because it almost feels like people that need to be advocating for nurses are not doing it. Our voices are not being heard.
Yeah.
Nobody's listening to us. And it also because, you were asking why people stay when they could leave. It could be that people get comfortable and complacent. That's number one. And the second one is that the opportunities are not there. Or if they are, people are not aware of those opportunities. That's what I think. It's just my opinion. It's just those two things.
I think you're right. And that is one of the goals of this channel, actually, to allow people to see where nurses can be and where nurses are, where we can work, because we can be everywhere from home to anywhere else in every other industry, in every other arena. And I really want people to see that you're not stuck anywhere. And you're not, that education can take you anywhere.
I think it's about mindset, changing people's mindset.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to, if I can be very, plain here, when it comes to us Africans, there's always that self-limiting thinking, I think. And I'm one of those radical ones. If I feel like I need to move on, I move on. I don't owe anybody any loyalty.
Yeah.
Because if, God forbid, anything should happen, I'll be disposed of like that. Within a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
I am disposable. Everybody disposable, dispensable. You understand?
Yeah.
So those that lost their lives, those healthcare professionals that lost their lives during COVID, their jobs were advertised within weeks.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to get to, what I do with my career coaching and my mentoring is that you need to obviously be loyal to your employer, but there's a limit, there's an extent to which you have to be loyal. You understand? If you're being loyal is impacting on your mental health, in your career progression, then you need to leave that environment, because I'm not that's not your father's business. You understand?
Yes. Yes. You've got to do what's right for you. You've got to do what's right for you. If you don't, you know, how do you manage?
Exactly.
So one last thing. Self-care. What does self-care mean to you?
You're asking the wrong person. Because even though I preach it, if I can admit it, put my hands up. I'm one of the worst people. So the question I get, and I get all the time, is how do you do it all? I don't know how I do it. And for me, self-care to me is Netflix and chill. And I know that sounds so benign, but it's just like, just staying indoors, because I'm more of an indoors person, just staying indoors, just chillaxing, just relaxing my mind. And there's so much rubbish on TV that can help you relax your mind.
Yeah.
Self-care is just kind of like shutting the world out and just concentrating on you. And I do have lots of different techniques. I've got a young son, and sometimes what I do is I wake up half an hour before he does.
Yeah.
Sit on the sofa, have a cup of tea, either just sit down and just with me, myself, and I watch some news, or just read a book.
Just read. Mm-hmm.
Self-care to me could be just going for a walk, or just putting my phone off on do not disturb for the whole day and not answering phone calls. It depends on how I'm feeling at any particular time. So I haven't got a one solution per se, but I think I've got different, things that I do at different times, put on how I feel.
Paying attention to you.
So important. So important.
So important. So important. Yes.
Yeah.
Josephine, on that note, I have to thank you so very much for this conversation. It has been really enlightening. I love talking to you. Thank you so very, very much.
Thank you for having me, Dale.
My pleasure.
Anytime.